guys, Andy here, and today we have my January palette wrap-up for January. It's my monthly palette wrap-up. So if you want to hear about just the 5 palettes that I used over the month of January and how I would rank them, then stay tuned. Everything I'm wearing is in the description box, and if you like makeup, unboxings, project painting content with a little bit of horror sprinkled in, please consider subscribing. So we'd love to have you here, and let's just get on into this quick ranking. Alright, so I only did my makeup like once a week this month. I really need to ramp that up for what projects I want to do this year, but I only used 5 palettes this month, so I enjoyed all of them. If you haven't seen, I already did my palette collection and declutter, so none of these are being decluttered. We're going to start with palette number 5, which is my Lovecraft Beauty Muted Techno Trio. This is simply because of the color story. I do really enjoy the formula of this. I'm not hugely into neutrals, and if this wasn't in a project, I probably wouldn't be using it right now. But it is a really beautiful formula, so I do enjoy this. It just, out of everything else that I used, this is going to have to rank at the bottom simply for color story reasons. For spot number 4, that is my St. Angel Sinners and Ice Cream Beauty Friendsgiving palette. And from here on up, stunners. All these palettes are stunners. Like this palette, the duochromes, this shade in particular, phenomenal. I have this green shade in a project right now, and I love this palette. So the reason it's ranking number 4, I just don't feel like the mattes go with the shimmers provided. Like, I love that we have a black. Black is great. And maybe if we take away the green, I feel like the palette goes a little bit better. There's so much purple in this palette, because even this matte has like a pinky undertone. This matte has a mauvey undertone. These are virtually the same color. And then we have an orangey brown and a black. For the burgundy reds, where's the burgundy red mattes? I don't know. I feel like the color story on this for the mattes isn't what I would want to pair with these shimmers. And this green to me feels, as beautiful as it is, feels so out of place with this palette. So I always feel something to be desired when I'm using this palette. The color story. The formula is absolutely stunning, and I want to try more of their palettes. For palette number 3, that is what is currently on my eyes, which is my Duty Pan, my Battleship palette. This is the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette, which looks like this if you don't know. I wish, and it does go very deep, but I wish it had something in between this satin deep blue and these being so dark that they're like this is almost black. Like, I wish there was something in between these two colors for depth. And the same thing can be said for lightness. I wish that there was, because these two colors, though they have a different undertone, this is mint and this is more of like an icy blue, they pull almost the same color on the eye. And this blue is very pigmented, so I wish we had something in between instead of all of these neutrals in the palette. Some other blues in this that could just make up that jump. So I have to be nitpicky, and because I'm going to be using this palette for at least a year, like, I feel like every time I use this palette, I get almost the same look. Every time, unless I'm going to just use the neutrals out of this palette. If I'm going to use the blues and the blues only, I get the same look every time, and that frustrates me greatly. And then palette number 1 and 2, I really was being nitpicky, and I could have gone either way for these. So for palette number 2, I went with my Jeffree Star Weirdo palette. And mind you, all of these palettes are in projects. That's why these are all the palettes I've used. So this is what it looks like. And this is in spot number 2 for 2 reasons. One, this red pulls pink. It is not a red, it is a pink. And that bothers me because I need more reds that are true reds and not pinks. And I hate that this pulls pink. It is a beautiful color. Don't get me wrong, but I hate that. And then I just wish that we had a red shimmer. Like this silver, phenomenal. My second favorite shimmer in my silver shimmer in my entire collection. But I do wish that maybe instead of one of these, we had one red shimmer to just pull this palette together. And I would have been happy. Would have been soared through the moon with this. But I have reds. It's fine. And my number 1 palette is my ColourPop Wine and Only. No notes. This palette, I love it. I think the color story on this is beautiful. And I think that I am in the minority of people who love ColourPop sequin shades. These are those matte with glitter shades. I love the depth that this creates with a little bit of glitter because, and maybe I'm just using a nice brush for it, but the glitter for me does translate onto the eye, and I just think that it looks extremely pretty. I love putting, like, deepening my outer corner with the shade, but then putting this one on top of it for just that extra little bit of oomph and sparkle. I think the shimmers that were put into this palette are absolutely stunning, and I love this palette. And I think for Valentine's Day, because I think I only need 1 more use on this, maybe 2, but this might be my Valentine's Day palette. Like, because it's in a project, and that's the most, it's either going to be that, or it's going to be my Menage a Moi, which I haven't used yet at all. But if I only have 1 more use left on my Wine and Only, I might just knock my 1 use and get that done. But those were my 5 palettes that I've used in the month of January. I definitely want to get my uses up. The thing is, though, getting my uses up, I might not be getting my more palettes up, because I only have 2 other palettes besides these 5 that are in projects. And I'm so overwhelmed with projects right now that I'm not reaching for other things in my collection. So, but that is it for my January palette wrap-up. I would love to hear your comments down below on what palettes you used in the month of January and what was your favorite. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.